the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast presented by Manly Bands. Josh All alone, your host today, just bringing you some quick news and updates and things like that have transpired between, Sunday we did our reaction show to the Philadelphia Eagles preseason game, and then tomorrow, because we've got some high school football things going on. Finally, it's high school football season. Man, I tell you what, I don't know where you guys are if you're watching, listening to this, but if definitely in Ohio, high school football reigns king, and this week things kick off. So Thursday, Friday night, we are all three hosts busy with some high school football stuff going on here in Ohio. And so we're going to do our Rams preseason finale preview show tomorrow night. It'll be myself, Justin, and Mr. Kenny Mack, just like last week. But this time, I can promise you people out there, I will hit the record button. If you're only listening on audio, you probably heard the joke the other day, but you didn't see the video. Last week when we did our preview show, I did forget to hit the record button on the video side of things. So there was no active video of the three of us talking about it. But if you're just listening to audio, you're good to go. You would not know that. So we're going to talk about quarterbacks. We got a week one starter. We've got new players under contract. Another one who's not still under contract. We'll talk about some of these quick updates. This is going to be more of a microcast, not very long today. Just want to hit these updates before we dive into things deeper. Tomorrow we'll have two practices for this week to talk about heading into the week already. So tomorrow night's preview show for the Rams game will be great. That's supposed to be the dress rehearsal, according to Kevin Stefanski, is what he has said. So we anticipate seeing the starters out there. Joe Flacco, obviously, we'll get into that here in a minute. Before I dive into everything, though, I want to remind you guys, this is pretty much it. You're going to hear it today and you're going to hear it tomorrow, and that will be the last you hear about your opportunity to play fantasy football with us this season in the Dog Pack Fantasy Leagues. Head to jointhedawgs.com, sign up on our Patreon page, become an official member of the Dog Pack to play fantasy football with us. Reminder again to everybody, you have to be a paid member. You can't join as a free member. These are paid leagues, so become a paid. You just join the lowest tier. It's $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee that you donate to the show. You don't even know it's missing, and it helps out the show a ton. Plus, you get the access to the private Discord and everything else that we do in the Dog Pack. Plus, obviously, you can join fantasy football. And this is a major last call because there are precisely 6 spots remaining. Get in now. Join the Patreon. You will get into a league, but there are only 6 spots. So do not wait. The cutoff is Friday this week, or if we fill up all 6 of these spots today, the cutoff is today. So get in now. Sign up to play fantasy football with us at jointhedawgs.com. Okay, so the big news, we'll just lead with it. Yesterday it was announced Joe Flacco will be the Browns starting quarterback in week 1. Obviously, it's a nice big announcement. As far as breaking news, not so much. We all anticipated Joe Flacco would be the week 1 starter. He's the only one who makes any sense. You going to start Kenny Pickett? The dude hasn't practiced in over a month. He's missed almost all of training camp and the entire preseason with no return timeline. You are not even entertaining the idea of starting Kenny Pickett week 1. And what are you going to do? Start one of the rookies? I don't think so. Joe Flacco makes the most sense. Joe Flacco is going to give this Browns team a very good opportunity to compete because we have such a strong our defensive showing in the preseason so far, and we're talking second, third, and beyond string players for the Browns. This defense is tenacious. If you're getting this kind of effort and tenaciousness from backups, just imagine what we're going to get from the starting unit when they're on the field. And just a little preview for the week 1 matchup against the Bengals. If you guys watched any of that preseason game last night when the Bengals had their first team offense and defense in the game, I'm telling you guys, I think the Browns have a legitimate shot to win that game at home. That offensive line for Cincinnati does not look good. Joe Burrow's running for his life. I don't care how explosive that offense and their skill makers are supposed to be. If he doesn't have time to make the play, to read the defense, to go through his progressions, to make a play, they're not going to be able to do anything. And we saw what this defense did to Joe Burrow 2 years ago in 2023 whenever we got after him in week 1 at home. So I think it's going to be a lot of the same. Plus, the Bengals defense looks horrendous. Oh my gosh. The Washington first string just diced him up right down the field. And then the second string came in and did the same thing to the Bengals first string unit. It was embarrassing. And I cannot wait to see Myles Garrett and this defensive line get after Joe Burrow. And I think Joe Flacco and this Browns offense could make some noise against this Bengals defense in week 1. So Joe Flacco, obviously, you guys remember what it was like in 2023. If you were here in 2023, if you're one of the new fans or, a Colorado fan joining us here, this is the right move. Joe Flacco, 2023 was beautiful for the Browns. Now, did it come with a lot of, edge of your seat moments in those games with Joe Flacco? A lot of turnovers from Joe Flacco? Yes. And it will again. But he's also going to push the ball. He knows how to play the quarterback position in Kevin Stefanski's offense at a high level. We're going to score touchdowns. We are going to be competitive. Now, the interesting thing, so Tony Grossi yesterday afternoon, after this was announced, was on the radio talking about how he thought it was strange that the Browns, when they made their announcement for Joe Flacco, that they only announced him as the week 1 starter. They didn't announce him as the starter for the season. He took that to mean the Browns are leaving the door open for Kenny Pickett to make a belated run at Joe Flacco's starting job after week 1. Now, it, to me, makes sense that the Browns did not name Joe Flacco the starter for the season because he's not going to be the quarterback for the whole season. He hasn't been a starting quarterback for an entire 17 or 16 game season since 2017. It's been 8 years, guys. This is not going to happen now at age 40. He is going to organically flame out. It is what is going to happen. Everybody knows it. Everybody expects it. And that is fine because that's how it's supposed to go. So for Grossi, though, to say that they're leaving the door open for Kenny Pickett to still compete for this job, I'd love to know what he's got or what, information or what he's heard or seen or who he's talked to that's giving him the impression that Kenny Pickett is in any way still in the running for this job. Now, I am recording this before the Browns practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, obviously. So, is Kenny Pickett still going to be out there running with the first team in 7-on-7s and stuff this week? I don't know, probably. Honestly, I don't expect anything to change with this team. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it until something changes. It's going to be Joe Flacco is going to lead the ones. If anyone else is getting reps with the ones, it's going to be Kenny and probably Dylan. And then Shador is going to continue to exclusively work with the second and third string. Dylan will work with the 1s and 2s. Shador will work with the 2s and 3s. That's how it's been. That's how it's going to keep going. I don't agree with it. I don't know if you agree with it, but let me know in the comments. Either way, that is what I expect to be the situation. So I don't think the door is open for Kenny Pickett. Again, can't put anything past this team. They have done some very strange things, especially at the quarterback position in the past. And they do have for some reason, some strange love for Kenny Pickett. I don't know what they've seen. Can't have been any much more than what we've seen because there's not a lot to see when he's not practicing. The other side of the Kenny Pickett argument too, I see a lot of people, they just need to trade him. They just need to call the Saints. They just need to call the Rams. They just need to trade him. Guys, who's trading for Kenny Pickett right now? Let's be real. He's injured. He has a hamstring injury that has held him out of training camp and the preseason for like the last 3+ weeks or more. I'm losing all track of time. Maybe it's been a month now. No set, return or timeline for his return. And hamstring injuries, we know, linger throughout the season. If he can't practice right now, who's trading for him to come in to be anything? Maybe we could get a 7th round pick or maybe a late round pick swap for Kenny Pickett for a team that just wants to add a little depth there. But, the Rams already have an injured quarterback. What are they going to do? Trade for another injured quarterback so that they can have both guys open the season on PUP and then they still have to play Jimmy Garoppolo? Or, the Saints, they've got 2 young guys that they got a quarterback competition going on. They're going to throw another guy in the mix who's hurt. number one, can't really actively compete with these two guys. So either way, they're still going to have to roll with Rattler or Tyler Shuck. And both of those guys, I feel like, are fully capable of throwing balls into the dirt at their own feet, just like Kenny Pickett is capable of doing. So I don't get the Kenny Pickett trade stuff. I get the notion of it, but the legit or the logical sense of it, I don't see it. I just don't see anybody coming and giving the Browns anything worthwhile to trade for him. So we'll see how things play out here in the next few weeks. Obviously, we get our dress rehearsal final preseason game on Saturday against the Rams. And then it's 2 weeks to prep for week 1 against the Bengals on September 7th in Cleveland. It's going to be a fun one. This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Browns fans, it is time to upgrade your ring game. Head over to manlybands.com/dogs and check out everything Manly Bands has to offer. Some of the coolest bands materials that you're going to find. I love going through and looking at everything in their Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel collection. I mean, you can get a wedding ring made from a Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel. That's awesome. They've got the Lord of the Rings collection. They've got DC Comics, and they've also got the other materials too. Gold, white gold, that kind of stuff. They've got meteorite. They've got dinosaur bone. They've got all kinds of stuff. And they have a ton of other gifts as well. They've got barware. They've got chains. They've got wristwatch. They've got all kinds of stuff. Anything you need if you're looking for manly rings and manly things, head to manlybands.com/dogs and make sure to use promo code CAMP25, CAMP25, to get an extra $25 off your order. That's manlybands.com/dogs, promo code CAMP25. This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, it is almost football season, and you know what that means. Fall grilling and tailgates. My favorite way to tailgate is with Omaha Steaks. And right now, during the Labor Day sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, at checkout. I already know what I'm doing for that week 1 game against the Bengals. In my tailgate, I'm firing up the grill and I am throwing on some of those bacon wrap fillets from Omaha Steaks. Those are amazing. Plus, the new smash burgers are to die for, guys. You got to have them because there's nothing like a Labor Day cookout to end the summer with a sizzle. And right now, it's the perfect time to stock up and celebrate with the exceptional handcrafted flavor and the convenience of having Omaha Steaks on hand. So get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit Omaha Steaks for 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code BARK at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code BARK at checkout. See site for details. Another thing to watch here is, well, let's start with this. The Browns announced officially the signing of wide receiver Isaiah Bond yesterday. So that's great for the wide receiver core, and we'd been talking about it for a while. The details started to come out like on Friday, saying that the Browns were going to sign him to maybe it was Saturday, sign him to a 3-year deal. People started to get all hot and bothered by, he's getting a 3-year deal. And I kept reminding everybody, like, UDFAs typically get 3-year contracts. That is the typical standard UDFA contract. Now, it's the money that I was anticipating, that I was, really curious to see how the financials shook out. And then the details came out. Isaiah Bond received a 3-year, fully guaranteed $3 million deal with the Browns with a $54,000, I think it was $54,000 signing bonus. That's significant because if you compare to other more standard UDFA contracts like Gage Larvadain, for example, Gage Larvadain also has a 3-year, $3 million UDFA contract. However, only $45,000 of his contract is guaranteed. So Isaiah Bond receiving all $3 million of his contract fully guaranteed. The dude is a lock for the Browns' 53-man roster this season without ever taking a step on the field. Now, remember, before people get, I know some people probably get upset, because of his situation and the arrest and allegations. You didn't want him in the first place, or why are we giving this guy priority treatment over these other players? He hasn't even taken a snap. I get it. But remember, the Browns spent extensive time with Isaiah Bond in the pre-draft process. They had him in for a visit. They met with him. They worked him out. Like he's a guy that they had high on their draft board. And I do think they had probably the pick that ended up going to Harold Fannin. They probably had that pick, also earmarked. This could go to Isaiah Bond if he falls into the beginning of the third round here, if he didn't go in the second. And but they wanted him, I guess, is just the main takeaway here. They wanted Isaiah Bond, and they've been in contact with him throughout this entire process. They've been doing, Andrew Berry put out a statement. They've done so much extensive investigation into this whole, sexual assault allegation case, everything going on with Isaiah Bond before the draft. And, he went through a polygraph test and all kinds of stuff. And Andrew Berry said, team did all their investigations and felt confident signing him, bringing him in. Everything's been dropped. The case has been no billed. He's cleared to go. And obviously they anticipate no suspension. I've seen plenty of reports from people around the league, not just Cleveland media, but around the league saying no suspension or NFL punishment expected for Isaiah Bond. So the Browns do get a great prospect at wide receiver without having to spend a draft pick on one. We harped on the Browns a lot this entire offseason saying, I can't believe you guys didn't address the receiver position. You didn't draft anybody. You really didn't bring anybody in, all this kind of stuff. Well, this is the guy they were waiting for. And they got him. They got Isaiah Bond. So it's exciting for the Browns receiver room. Hopefully he can add that element, that playmaking element to this offense that we so desperately need. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here, the guy who should be under contract, still is not under contract, Quinshon Judkins. What are we doing here, Browns? So came out the other day, first of all, a couple of days ago, came out that obviously Quinshon's charges had been dropped. His case had been dismissed, all that kind of stuff. He wasn't going to face any charges. The legal situation with Quinshon Judkins is over. It's done. Nothing more to see on the legal side of things. So especially after the Isaiah Bond signing was announced a little prematurely, but we all knew it was coming. It was like, okay, same situation with Judkins. Case dismissed, charges dropped, get him under contract, get him in here to practice so we can get rolling. Week 1 isn't very far away. Well, now it's coming out. Adam Schefter tweeting, some other people saying the Browns, Judkins not expected to get a contract done until the NFL's investigation into this whole situation is complete. And it's like, what are we, first of all, on the NFL side of things, I just want to mention this. What are we doing? What are we investigating? What are we trying to do here? Because like I just said, on the legal side of things, it's all done. There's nothing. We saw the statement that was released from the court. Like there's no evidence. There's actually evidence going against refuting what his accuser claimed. A lot of the evidence actually supports Judkins' side of things. And I'm old enough to remember, what was it, 2 years ago? Something like that, 2 years ago. Alvin Kamara damn near beat a man to death on video in a Las Vegas hotel hallway, outside an elevator, something like that. I mean, and this was not self-defense. He was not attacked. He had a whole gang of guys around him. I don't know what this dude said to Kamara, but it set him off. And he almost beat the man to death while this whole gang of Kamara's, dudes was around him just watching. Alvin Kamara got arrested, spent a night or spent time in jail, was charged with felony assault. I forget the whole details of the case, but I know that the end result on the NFL level, 3-game suspension for all that. And go to Google if you don't have a super weak stomach and just Google Alvin Kamara assault and look at the pictures of the man's face that he assaulted. 3-game suspension. What is the NFL trying to do here with Judkins? There's no evidence supporting that he did anything. There's no case anymore. There's no charges anymore. How are you going to justify suspending this guy for any length of time, let alone more than what you did with a guy like Kamara? But then again, the NFL is not a fair league, especially when it comes to these punishments. They kind of just willy-nilly these things. None of it ever makes sense. The process doesn't make sense. The punishments, the final rulings don't make sense. None of it makes sense. So whatever, we'll move on from that. For the Browns and Judkins, the issue with Quinshon Judkins and his contract this entire time has been not exclusive to just the Browns. So the Browns and the Texans were the only two teams originally to give their second round picks fully guaranteed contracts. First two fully guaranteed contracts in NFL history for second round players. And it was the Browns gave the first fully guaranteed. No, actually, I'm sorry. The Texans gave the first ever fully guaranteed contract to a second round player, to Jaden Higgins, their wide receiver that they selected at pick 34. And the Browns at pick 33 took Carson Schlesinger, and they also gave him a fully guaranteed contract. That's what held up the deals for all the other 30 players picked in the second round. None of them signed with their teams forever. Nobody signed with their teams until training camp started. Once players got back from summer break, got into training camps, that's when deals started finally getting done for second round picks. And a guy like Travion Henderson, a running back, taken 2 spots after Quinshon Judkins with the Patriots, got his contract fully guaranteed. So if all this crap hadn't happened with Quinshon Judkins, he would have reported to training camp like the rest of these second round picks. He would have gotten a fully guaranteed contract with the Browns, and we would be off and running, getting ready for the season. So I don't have any information on this. I'm not reporting sources or anything. I am speculating. But it makes sense that Quinshon and his agent, because a lot of people will say, oh, Judkins needs to do this, do that. Remember, guys, he has an agent who is advising him. This isn't necessarily Quinshon's decisions or anything like that. His agent is probably steering the ship, saying, listen, I know you had this whole unfortunate situation happen to you. You were in this mess, this crap, whether you want to heap blame on Quinshon or not or whatever, doesn't matter. The situation now is you're now available to sign your contract with the team. The legal situation is over. Continue to push for your fully guaranteed contract that, based on where you were taken, based on the players around you and what they got, you still deserve. That has got to be the message from the agent. I would bet on it. So they're still fighting, I would imagine, for a fully guaranteed contract, similar to what the guys around him got, his fellow teammate Schlesinger. And the Browns likely, again, speculating here, but the Browns are likely saying, NFL still investigating this. You might end up getting suspended. We're not fully guaranteeing your contract. Maybe there's a hang up over verbiage in the contract, kind of like with Shamar Stewart and the Bengals. I don't know what the deal is. Again, I'm just speculating, but there's a holdup. And personally, especially when it comes to the Browns and what they're doing with what they've done with contracts, it's like, I would just give him what he's supposed to have. Give him the second round contract, the fully guaranteed that you were going to give him anyway once he got to camp, if this whole situation hadn't happened. Why? Well, number one, you've already set the precedent, guys. Like, you can't stand on your laurels and be like, hey, listen, you might be getting suspended. I don't know if we can fully guarantee your contract. They gave Deshaun Watson the highest fully guaranteed contract in NFL history, and they knew he was going to miss significant time after they traded for him and gave him that contract. They just gave Isaiah Bond a fully guaranteed contract, even though he had just been arrested and had all these allegations and had a case dropped and charges dropped and all that kind of stuff. It was like 3 days later, he got a fully guaranteed contract. Quit holding out on Quinshon Judkins because you drafted him with a top 40 pick. You identified him and handpicked him to be the future bell cow leader of your running game and to be the engine and the fuel of your entire offense. Just sign the guy. Just pay him. You're going to pay him anyway. You're at some point, unless you really just want to let him not be here and roll with Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson and kind of rethink this whole thing and chalk that up to a wasted high second round pick, which I don't think the Browns want to do. Just pay the man. Just freaking pay him and get him in here so he can start practicing and get ready for the season. It's starting to get ridiculous. It really is. And maybe more details about this whole, tug of war back and forth between Judkins and the team will come out and we'll change our opinion on how we look at this, but with the information available right now, which isn't much, that's why I'm doing all this speculating, but golly, guys, just get the guy under contract. We need him. And, even like I said, even if the NFL does suspend him, the legal situation is gone. So it'll be a one-time suspension. Boom, he'll serve it, done. And then he's right back here. So just get him in the freaking building. And just pointing back to that Alvin Kamara suspension, the NFL is so stupid. The NFL, Roger Goodell, their personal conduct policy, it's just, there's no consistency, and they're stupid. They're stupid. But anyway, that's really the updates here for now. Just wanted to get these out here to you guys before we talk about everything in more detail and go into the preview for the game tomorrow night. The preview tomorrow night for the game on Saturday. And I wanted to remind you guys, this is one of the last times you'll get one more reminder tomorrow, unless we get 6 people sign up today. Fantasy football, jointhedawgs.com. Get in now, sign up, play fantasy with us this year. It's a ton of fun. We have 9 leagues this year. We went from, I think the first year we had 1 or 2 leagues that we did. I think it was 2. The second year we bumped it up, and I think we had 3 or 4. Last year we had 5 leagues. This year we have 9 redraft leagues that we're playing in the Dog Pack. It's going to be a ton of fun. And, the winners all get a championship t-shirt, and you get bragging rights. And what happens most years, the first 5 leagues from last year rolled over into this year. All 10 managers in each of those leagues just wanted to roll it back and say, let's just keep running this league back. Let's keep running it back. So if you're looking for a new league to get into that's going to be around, not just for one season and then you find something else to do next year. No, you get to come back next year and be in the same league if you want to. You can always opt out and say, hey, I want to join a different league, within the Dog Pack. That's totally fine. You can do that too. No problem. But most of these people want to come back and say, hey, I got to know, Joe, Sue, and Sally that were in my league last year, and they were a ton of fun. I want to run it back. We got this little competition. It's been a ton of fun. So jointhedawgs.com, get in. 6 spots left, and then it's over. And then signups are done. So get in now while you can and play fantasy with us. Appreciate you guys tuning in. My dog is whining. I don't know what his problem is. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on the preview show. Let's go Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, we love our fellow dogs, our Dog Pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful, but let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. Your furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. But the question is, what are you actually feeding them? Head to butcherbox4pets.com/products to see all the options for your dogs, including fresh and dry foods, treats, meal toppers, and even toys for your dog. If you're not sure what your dog will like best, try the Premium Nutrition Adult Starter Pack, and they even have a vacation bundle to take care of your 4-legged friends while you're on vacation this summer. And right now you can get 20% off your order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain 0 artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line is your dogs are getting the nutrition and the value they need, and honestly, that they deserve. I know our home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. He is not, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of just that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to go. ButcherBox for Pets delivers their high-quality food right to your door. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/products and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off your order. It's time for us dogs to give our dogs the nutrition they deserve.